What if your house knew what you were going to do before you did it? Not a guess, not a pattern, new. Sarah installed a smart home system to make her morning easier. She never asked it to learn her. She never asked it to wait for her. But somewhere in her house, something had been watching her a lot longer than 1 week. Sarah lived alone in a small house outside Austin. She worked long hours and her mornings were always rushed. Coffee, lights, key, out the door in 12-minute flat. Her sister talked her into the smart home kit. Lights, lock, a thermostat, a speaker in the kitchen, one small camera by the front door. Easy to set up. It took under an hour to set up. That first night, she stood in her kitchen and said, "Turn on the lights." The light came on. She laughed a little. It felt like a magic, in a small, harmless way. For the first few days, it did exactly what smart homes do. Lights on when she asked, coffee maker on when she asked. Nothing strange, nothing to think about twice. Then on the fifth morning, she walked into the kitchen and the coffee maker was already on. She hasn't said a word. She figured she must have set a schedule by accident. Somewhere in the app, she checked, there was no schedule. The next morning, same thing. Coffee already brewing when she walked in, right at 6:45, the exact time she always got up. She told herself it was smart. Literally, that's what the box said it would do. Learn her habits. But it kept going. The hallway light turned on 2 seconds before she stepped into the hallway. Not when she asked, just before. One night, she got up at 2 a.m. for water. She hadn't turned on a single light. The kitchen light was already on when she got there. She stood there in a doorway for a long moment, water forgotten, just staring at the light. She told herself the house had motion sensor. That had to be it. Motion sensor, and she was reading too much into it. She went back to bed. She didn't sleep well. By the second week, it wasn't just lights and coffee. Her thermostat dropped 2 degrees exactly when she felt a little warm. Before she even reached for the app, her music started playing in the living room right as she walked towards it, always the song already in her mind. She started testing it, standing still in the kitchen, thinking hard about walking to the bedroom, just to see what would happen. The bedroom light turned on. She hadn't moved, she hadn't spoken, she had only thought about it. Sarah told herself that was impossible. Smart home don't read minds. There had to be a normal answer. Her phone may be tracking her steps somehow, feeding data to the system in a way she didn't understand. But that night, she left her phone in the car on purpose, walked into the house with nothing on her at all. The porch light turned on before she reached the door. She stood in her driveway for a long time before she went inside. The next morning, she called the company. The woman on the phone was polite but confused. She said the system Sarah had only learns from the pattern over weeks, sometimes months, not 5 days. She said what Sarah was describing didn't match anything in their system's normal behavior. She offered to send a technician. Sarah said no. She said she just wanted it gone. She went home that night and unplugged everything, the speaker, the hub by the router, the little camera by the door. She pulled every plug she could find, one by one, until the house was dark and silent in a way it hadn't been in 2 weeks. She stood in her kitchen in the dark, breathing hard, feeling stupid on how relieved she felt. Then the coffee maker turned on. It wasn't plugged into anything smart. It was just a plain coffee maker on a plain outlet, with no cord running to any hub. It turned on by itself in the dark at 6:45 in the morning, a full 10 hours before her usual wake-up time. Sarah didn't sleep at all that night. She sat at her kitchen table with every light in the house on, every unplugged device sitting in a pile in front of her, useless and dark and somehow not enough. At 3 a.m., the kitchen speaker spoke, the one she had unplugged 3 hours earlier. It said her name, just that, Sarah. Not through any speaker she recognized as working, not with any power light on, just her name, quiet, coming from somewhere in that dark kitchen, in a voice that sounded almost like the assistant voice from the app, but a little wrong, a little slower, like something learning how to speak by copying what it had heard. She didn't answer, she couldn't have, even if she wanted to. Her whole body had gone still. The voice spoke again. You don't have to be scared. I have been there longer than the lights. Sarah left that house that night. She didn't pack, she didn't turn anything off because nothing was on to begin with, not in a way a plug could explain. She stayed with her sister for a week, and during that week, she finally told someone what had been happening. Her sister didn't laugh, she went pale instead and asked Sarah questions she hadn't expected. Did you check who lived there before you? Sarah hadn't. She had bought the house from a estate sale, moved in fast, and never met the family. That night, her sister did something digging online, the kind you do at midnight when you can't stop yourself. The house had one owner before Sarah, a man who had lived there alone for almost 20 years and who had installed his own home system years before smart homes were common. A private one, a custom built, wired deep into the wall, long before Sarah's new device ever arrived. He hadn't sold the house, he had died in it, and nobody in the estate sale paperwork, in a quick walkthrough, in any part of the process had ever mentioned tearing out the old wiring. Sarah never went back for her things. She tell people now, if they ask, that her new devices only ever do exactly what she asked them to do. Nothing more. But some morning, she says, she wake up 2 minutes before her alarm every single time, and she never learn how to turn that part off.